Time now for Back Pages tonight here on Sky Sports News, bringing you a first look at the sports stories in the morning's newspapers. And joining us are The Athletic's Carl Anker and also Charlie Wyatt from The Sun. Welcome along to you both, chaps. We'll get your thoughts very shortly, but let's quickly run you through the back pages as we have them so far. Back page of The Eye, picture of Jack Grealish and Savino. City have a clear out, so looking at potential transfers out of the Etihad. The headline, though, Palace's summer left in turmoil by CAS decision. City's club's appeal against the European demotion over breach of ownership is dismissed, so they will be playing in the Conference League next season. Let's head to the back page of the Metro. It's the real deal for Everton. So Jack Grealish nearing a season-long loan to the Hill Dickinson Stadium, as it will be known next season. And the Eagles are stranded again on Crystal Palace's demotion from the Europa League. And Šeško wants to emulate Zlatan. Yes, that is his idol in football as he speaks for the first time as a Manchester United player. Back page of the Telegraph looks like this. Palace lose appeal over demotion is the headline. That same story. Mark Gay pictured. I wonder where he may be heading. And Show of Steel, Raducanu runs Sabalenka close in thriller. Yes, was decided by a third set tiebreaker in Cincinnati between those two. Back page of the Mirror. Hitting the road, Jack Grealish agrees Everton loan to get stuttering career back on track. Again, Palace there on the left-hand side. And United too weak mentally to win, says Harry Maguire in the Mirror. Back page of The Guardian. Again, it is Emma Raducanu who is picked and she's beaten by Arina Sabalenka. Eagles grounded. Palace lose appeal as Forest prepare for Europa League. And they're at the top, Jack on track. Grealish poised for Everton loan move in bid to revive career. Let's have a look at the back page of The Star. Zlat's the way to do it. Benjamin Šeško aiming to follow his idol Zlatan Ibrahimovic and dazzle at Manchester United. And another potential transfer scenario involving Gianluigi Donnarumma, who supposedly has been frozen out by Paris Saint-Germain. So who could come in for him? Back page of The Sun looks like this. Ready, aim, fire is the headline. Šeško warns United will get back to the top. On the right there, Palace's anger at CAS call and real deal, but Savino is there at the top. The transfer movements potentially at Manchester City. And in the Times, Grealish out to reclaim his England place. Winger aims to revive career with Everton loan. And there you go, Emma Raducanu, they're in full flight, but in the end, losing 7-6, 4-6, 7-6 to Arina Sabalenka after 3 hours on court in Cincinnati. Right, let's speak to Carl and to Charlie. And we're going to start off with Crystal Palace. And yes, we now know the outcome ultimately. As far as they're concerned, it is now certain they will be playing in the Conference League this coming season. Carl, how much of a blow is it, given that they had qualified for the Europa League through winning the FA Cup?
It is a blow. It's gutting for a Crystal Palace team that are on the crest of a wave, that seemingly have the potential to really climb up the Premier League table and really be a force in Europe's secondary competition. I think the work Oliver Glasner's done as a coach is phenomenal. They were tremendous in the Community Shield yesterday, and they were tremendous in the FA Cup final as well. The fact that they have been undone by, to be quite brutal about it, an administrative kerfuffle, not heeding warnings from UEFA and missing a March 1st deadline in regards to this multi-club ownership partnership model, however you want to describe it. The fact that the relevant emails sent from UEFA went to a rather generic email address from Crystal Palace rather than to the relevant correct person as well. For a football club that is playing such thrilling football, to come undone by such mundane admin is a disappointment. However, while UEFA have closed the door, they have opened up a rather interesting window in the Conference League. I find that to be a very interesting competition, highly entertaining to watch, particularly in the knockout rounds. And who knows, maybe Crystal Palace can add a third piece of silverware this season by making a deep run into the Conference League.
If I just look into the piece, Charlie, that Ed Aarons has written in The Guardian, just looking into the article itself, Crystal Palace are understood to have argued they had been singled out by UEFA and that its rules had not been applied consistently. What's your take on that? Do they have any argument there, or is it just rules are rules and they didn't comply with them?
I think rules are rules, and clearly CAS agrees with UEFA. I feel desperately sorry for Palace fans. I mean, last season was a brilliant season for all the cups, really, wasn't it? Newcastle, Tottenham winning Europa League, and of course Crystal Palace really sort of putting the magic back into the cup. So for those fans who are expecting, a brilliant season in the Europa League, although I think it'd be very tough for them, it's really unfortunate. But they are the rules, and it is a bit farcical. I don't like this sort of blind trust that some clubs' owners can, still have multi-club ownership. The rules are there, but they're clearly being bent. But within UEFA rules, so I don't like it. And Palace have just been, really unfortunate. But equally, they went into the season, or obviously John Textor knowing the situation. So the fact is that, they insisted they didn't see these emails from UEFA. Obviously, Kaz are not that sympathetic. But so the supporters, as Carl says, Palace fans, have now got the Conference League to look forward to. And look, I'm hoping that this time next year, Crystal Palace are looking forward to a season in the Europa League, because it will have meant that they've won, the Europa Conference, finals in Leipzig, and it could be a terrific season for them. And that would be brilliant for them to end up having, 2 seasons in Europe. But of course, they've got a playoff match to come first.
Yeah, a couple of legs against opponents yet to be named on Thursday 21st and 28th. So still not for sure in the Conference League itself proper. But yes, that is the way, Charlie, to put a positive spin on this story. They're going to go and win the thing, as we've seen West Ham and Chelsea do in the past, and then be in the Europa League after all. Let's have a look at the Telegraph, Carl. And there's a picture there of Mark Gay, the Crystal Palace captain. What do you think this news means for someone like him, who's, of course, in sharp focus, as is Barry Eze, and ultimately not playing in the second tier, but in the third tier of Europe instead?
It's very intriguing. We know Mark Gray was of particular interest in Newcastle last season. I believe the initial bid from Newcastle was north of 70 million, and he stayed for an extra season. That interest is still going to be there from Newcastle and other clubs at the Premier League summit. Eberechi Eze has been of interest to Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur and a bunch of other clubs as well. Now, these are players that have written themselves into Crystal Palace folklore with their actions in the FA Cup final and the Community Shield now. So the question now is, do you want to stay for one more season, see how far you can go in the Conference League and see how far you can develop under Glasner, who I think is a phenomenal coach? Or do you try and push forward for that move to try and see if you can join projects that are further along and try and test yourself in the Champions League? At this point in time, it doesn't seem like Newcastle, Arsenal or Tottenham Hotspur are willing to put up the 60, 70 million plus for these very, very talented Crystal Palace players, so they might stay for a little bit. However, I'm talking to you in August and the transfer window doesn't close until September, so this can go right down to the wire. I would like it if this Crystal Palace project could stay together for just a little bit longer. I think a player like Adam Wharton, he's phenomenal as well, and he will maybe one day will start getting quoted with 100 million price tags soon. But the longer this team can stay together, particularly on the work in Glasner, the better. Not just for Crystal Palace and Crystal Palace fans, but the Premier League as a whole. I think it's great when the quote unquote middle class are playing such thrilling football.
I love it. Crystal Palace fans will love being called middle class, Carl. Well, look, as you say, 3 weeks until the end of the window. But one deal that is going to get done, you would imagine, well before then, is Jack Grealish joining Everton on loan. Let's get to the back page of the Mirror, Charlie. Hitting the road, Jack, is the headline. Grealish agrees Everton loan to get Stutter and Career back on track. Let's focus on the player first. How good a move is this for him? How much is it needed?
It's a great move for Jack. Brilliant move for Everton as well. And the fact that he didn't make the squad for the last game of the season against Fulham, then was left out of the Club World Cup. Clearly he needs a move. That's obvious. And maybe by rediscovering his form that we've not really seen for a couple of years. It's been 2 tough seasons for Jack, really, since he helped had a brilliant season for City. But the last 2 years, injury as well, he has struggled. This time last year, he was obviously gutted not to have made the England squad for the Euros, and I can see why Gareth Southgate didn't include him. So his goal will be to get back to Everton, play well, get back into the England squad because, of course, it's a World Cup next year. And for Everton, they're getting a good player. They're going to probably have to pay a good chunk of his £300,000 a week wages, but let's say they're paying £200,000 a week. That's £10 million just for a season. That is actually a decent bit of business. He's 29. He's going to be 30 next month. So potentially it'd be with a view to a £50 million transfer, which I think next season is actually quite a lot of money. But David Moyes, clearly, who's praised Grealish hugely in the past, will really enjoy working with him. And, for Grealish to join a big club in a brilliant new stadium and to get his career back on track, it could be a really good switch for him.
And how is this coming season shaping up, Carl, for Everton? Look on the back page of the Metro, and it mentions here that they've also signed Killen Dewsbury-Hall, Charlie Alcaraz, Tieno Barry, Mark Travers, Adam Asnou. Where do you think their expectations are then?
Premier League middle class, shall we say? This is good. I really, really, really like the moves that Everton have made in this summer window. I think Tieno Barry has the potential to be a fantastic striker. He was one member of the Villarreal's high pressing 4-4-2. Some questions over whether or not he's got the physical capacity to hit the ground running on week one, but we know David Moyes can help strikers and can help mould strikers as well. There's been a lot of conversation as to whether or not Goodison Park was worth 10 to 12 points and how it'd be difficult moving to that brand new stadium. But these signings are going to help Everton break down defences more. I watched them play Fulham in a 0-0 draw under Sean Dyche last season, and it was really quite glaring how they only really had two players that could beat a man, whereas now they've got several. And if they can secure a move for Tyler Dibbling as well, this could really be a quite fun team to watch on your Saturday 3 o'clocks.
Yeah, that Dibbling one is absolutely fascinating as well. And talking of players who can beat a player, what about Savinho and the potential of him swapping the Etihad Stadium for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Charlie, can you see it?
Well, Manchester City, I don't really want him to go. So, of course, Tottenham are going to have to pay top dollar for him, which could be, £50 million plus. So I can see why Tottenham would like him. Of course, they've lost Son, haven't they? He's gone to the States. So James Maddison, his injury as well, and Kulusevski as well. So look, Tottenham need some quality, and I don't think it's certainly going to happen because, as I said, City would rather him stay at the club. But of course, if Tottenham really want him, they get him, but they'll have to pay for him.
And talking of names who could be swapping clubs and actually coming to the Premier League in this sense, we know that Gianluigi Donnarumma is one of the world-class keepers out there and 26 years of age. And the back page of the Star, Gigi Whiz, it's a Donnarumma ding-dong, they say, because it's been frozen out at Paris Saint-Germain. Sounds like Manchester United and Chelsea could well be the sort of tug-of-war for the Italian. So, first of all, Carl, why do PSG want rid of him? And secondly, which is the better fit for the club, for the player, in terms of United or Chelsea?
Well, first of all, kudos to whoever put together those puns on the Daily Star. Donnarumma Ding Dong, very, very good. Why did PSG want to get rid of him? Because they've signed Lucas Chevalier. And Luis Enrique, like many modern goalkeepers, like many modern coaches, wants a goalkeeper who's very comfortable with his feet. Chevalier is a sweeper keeper. You can very often see him almost amphibious-like, stand outside his penalty area, ball at his feet, join the press, pass, line-breaking passes. Whereas Donnarumma is your classic big man, makes loads of saves, claims crosses, saves penalties. Charlie and I will both remember the penalties he saved at Wembley Stadium in 2021. That broke English hearts. So he's a classic goalkeeper. That is appealing if you are a team that just wants a goalkeeper to keep the ball out of the net rather than do some of the fancy stuff that Manuel Neuer made his oeuvre last decade. I'm not necessarily sure if Donnarumma is going to move to the Premier League. Manchester United right now seem to be focusing all of their transfer funds and attentions towards a midfielder. And Chelsea have an abundance of goalkeepers, and Sanchez is good, but I don't necessarily think Donnarumma is fantastic in a way that fits with what Enzo Maresca wants from a goalkeeper. So keep an eye on it, but also pinch of salt.
Yes, I think, could be another statement sign for United if they manage it. All right, guys, thank you very much indeed for the moment. We're going to take a quick break, other side of which we'll look at more of the sports stories in the morning's newspapers, including this in The Sun. Ready, aim, fire. We'll take a look at the task that lies ahead for Benjamin Šeško at Old Trafford. Charlie Wyatt from The Sun. Let's go to Charlie's paper, but to Carl first on Benjamin Šeško, who we've heard from for the first time as a Manchester United player. And ready, aim, fire is the headline. Šeško warns United will get back to the top. Plenty of confidence from a young man who says that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is his idol. So do you like that? You know, is it kind of genuine, sort of an indication of where United are going, or is his confidence at all misplaced, Carl?
I think every Manchester United player has to be confident. You have to believe that United are one day going to return to the Premier League summit. Otherwise, why would you be a Manchester United player in the first place? Šeško, he's big. He's 6'5". His straight line speed is phenomenal. And he's got a shot from his right foot that can dislodge a trapped basketball from a rim. He is going to be very, very fun to watch, particularly in this reworked front three under Ruben Amorim with Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo. His trajectory, his career trajectory, first playing the Austrian Bundesliga and the German Bundesliga, has earned him some comparisons to Erling Haaland. But I believe RB Leipzig, during some press conferences, politely asked journalists not to bring him up too much because Šeško preferred comparisons to Ibrahimovic. And also, I think if you watch him a little bit, he does remind me a little bit of Edin Dzeko as well. So, exciting player, sky-high potential, and I hope good things happen to him at Old Trafford, if only because I'm at Old Trafford on Sunday.
Yeah, well, you'll get to see him firsthand in that Super Sunday game against Arsenal. But you can change players. It takes a lot more to change a culture. Charlie, back page of the Mirror. Interesting comments here from Harry Maguire. who says that he believes that Manchester United have been too weak mentally to be successful. Can the summer signings change that? And what did you make of his comments overall?
Well, I mean, for Harry Maguire to say that, hugely respected player in the game, and he's clearly been very frustrated with the mentality that some of the United players have been having. So, yeah, United will be hoping these players. I think they're having a really good summer in terms of recruitment, and I'm sure Amrim has also looked into the character profile of the players they've brought in, and Sesko, by all accounts, off the pitch as well, is a terrific professional. Though he's obviously very young, he's going to need time. I think we've got to remember that. He's 22, so it's taken some time to get used to the Premier League. But yeah, for Harry to say that, it's pretty damning, I think. Even though United fans probably have made up their minds, they know that already. And of course, United were incredibly disappointing in the Europa League final against Spurs, weren't they? Not that Spurs were that much better, to be fair. But yes, Sesko, great signing, really exciting. Sunday's game, hit him against Victor Gyökeres. What a fascinating battle. They're obviously not going to be playing against each other, but in terms of the same game, I think really adds extra spice to a huge game for both players. And we'll really see what Sesko's made of and whether he's got the right mentality.
Let's move to the Telegraph. And Carl, a player who is currently at Leicester but could be moving back into the Premier League with either Leeds United or Newcastle United. Eddie Howe very keen on Bilal El Khanous. How do you see it?
Makes sense to me. This is a really sensible move. El Khanous, a very, very good operator within that Leicester City team. We see this every single season, right? There is no football team is too good to go down, but there are a number of players who are of interest every time their side gets relegated. We've spoken about Tyler Dibbling earlier. So this is a move that makes sense. Newcastle definitely need midfield reinforcements. They need some verve and ball progression in that midfield three, I should say. I think what you want someone who brings the physicality of Joelinton, but perhaps it can be a little bit cute with the ball at his feet. So that interest makes sense to me.
Yeah, and as I say, plenty of time in this transfer window for those moves not to progress, but also be completed. Let's talk tennis, shall we? Back page of The Guardian. And Charlie, it was an enthralling match, this, between Emma Raducanu and Aryna Sabalenka. Of course, they had met before at Wimbledon, and that was gripping enough. But this one went the distance, went north of 3 hours as well. Overall, to be able to go toe-to-toe with the best female player on the planet must give Emma Raducanu a boost, despite the outcome of the match.
Huge boost for her. And, of course, she's on the verge of getting seeded for the US Open, which, of course, she won 4 years ago. But she'll take a lot from this match tonight. And it had everything. Had a baby crying. A new coach, Francis Roy, got told off for moving seats and talking to Raducanu. But I don't think it's a coincidence that she's got a coach who was worked with Rafa Nadal for 17 years. And this is, excellent decision to get him on board. And previously she was working with Mark Petchey, who obviously is a great coach, but he's got his TV commitments. But previous to that, I used to hear Raducanu saying, "Well, I don't need a coach because I can work things out for myself." That's utter nonsense. It was always nonsense. All players need a coach now, and I really hope this can, this partnership can just help her develop. He stays with her for a while now and really gets the best out of her, because it's been a really difficult few years. I don't think she's been seeded at a Grand Slam for 3 years. So that tells you everything. But, she'll take a lot of heart from this match tonight. And let's hope she can push on at Flushing Meadows.
Yeah, and of course she's already built up some momentum with that semi-final appearance at the City Open in Washington. The Francis Roch, the new coach, but it seemed like she got a little bit of a ticking off from the umpire about potentially trying to solicit, comments or advice from the coach. But also, you mentioned, Charlie, that there was this baby crying on court. Carl, she seemed to take a little bit of umbrage at that. What did you make of it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I found it very funny. I found it very funny. There was a crying baby, and Emma would found it distracting. The umpire asked, what would you like me to do, remove the child? And Emma's face was very much well, yes, could you? To which several fans seemed to agree. This is top level. This is top level tennis, and these things happen. We know that you're not actually supposed to be soliciting advice from your coach from beyond the seat, but everyone does it. So here we go. The big thing for Emma Raducanu is consistency. Can she get consistency in her coach, because she's been through multiple coaches at this point in time, and can she consistently build upon positive parts of momentum? I think again, we've not yet reached her talent ceiling. So very excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a really key time of the year, of course, as you mentioned, Charlie, with those memories of 4 years ago, and see how she's grown, especially with things sort of settling a little bit. Also a story in The Guardian around the Women's Rugby World Cup to introduce LED flashing mouthguards for concussion. Basically what happens, it lights up whenever a player sustains a significant head impact during a match, and it will flash red if the impact is severe enough to potentially cause concussion. Interesting story. Sadly, we don't have enough time to discuss this with our guests. But we'll be keeping across that, because, of course, it's not so long to go until the Women's Rugby World Cup begins next week. Our thanks to Carl Anka and to Charlie Wyatt for your company, for your insights this evening. We will see you again very shortly indeed, I'm sure, here on Sky Sports. OK, if you missed any of the show, another chance to see Back Pages tonight, 1:30. It's also available as a podcast. Just download Back Pages on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. And I'll be speaking to Miguel Delaney and Riyadh Al Samurai same time on Tuesday night. And of course, we're talking transfers and Jack Grealish moving to Everton on loan. That's next.